Hey everyone, I'm Pat Monahan. Welcome back to the Patcast. A lot has happened in the past couple weeks. We just released the latest Train single. It's called Angel in Blue Jeans, and it's out right now on iTunes and everywhere else you listen to music. We are just putting the finishing touches on our new album, Bulletproof Picasso, and I got to sit in on the mastering session on Friday in New York City. Super excited about all of this for all of you guys to get a chance to hear that. And we got a lot of shows coming up this summer. So make sure to check out SaveMeSanFrancisco.com to see the tour dates. This week's Patcast was a pretty exciting one for me and Jerry and Pergo. About a month ago, we were in San Francisco for a benefit concert hosted by Sammy Hagar. It's a show Sammy does to help out with funding for cancer research. So it's a really good cause. It helps kids in San Francisco and the Bay Area, but also it's really about a cure instead of a Band-Aid. So I think that he's onto something really good. The lineup was incredible. Sammy, Joe Satriani, James Hetfield of Metallica, Billy Joe Armstrong from Green Day, Ian Wilson of Heart, me, and a bunch of other really great musicians. We went to Sammy's rehearsal space the day before to get ready, and we got a chance to sit down with him for just a few minutes to talk to him about his insane career, and we got to play a little bit of music with him. So this week, I'm very excited to bring you this Patcast with one of my favorite singers, Sammy Hagar. Sammy Hagar got started in music back in 1967. I was jiggling around in God's pocket. Playing in numerous bands in California, he already had it in his head that he wanted to make music the way he made his living, and it only took him until 1973 to really get his foot in the door. And he did that with a band called Montrose. One of the very early bands in the hard rock format. Montrose became a very meaningful entity in music, playing bigger and bigger venues and becoming an enormous name in the rock scene at the time. But as big as that was for him, and as big as the band became, what Sammy would do next would overshadow his work with Montrose significantly. He cut out on his own in 1976. And as a solo artist, Sammy became a staple of 70s and 80s arena rock. And that ain't easy, because arenas are big, and they're full of people when you're Sammy Hagar. At that point, Sammy could and would write his own ticket. But first, he would take another detour, and this one would make him a bigger name than his work with Montrose or his solo career. He joined Van Halen in 1985 as their lead singer, and a big part of the writing as well, replacing the great David Lee Roth. Coming into an already established group as a frontman is a daunting task, and that task is made even more precarious when the job is to replace a very famous frontman and perform alongside an equally well-known lead guitarist. These kind of replacements often don't work and often go sour. But Sammy lasted more than a decade as Van Halen's lead singer and wrote a string of huge hits with them. In fact, with him at the front, Van Hagar, or Van Halen, released 4 multi-platinum #1 records, and he was the centerpiece of what became a massive second act in the band's career. And there has been no singer that could fill his shoes since. And it seems like after his relationship with Van Halen ended, and after all the strife and bad blood that came along with it, the easiest thing that he could have done would be to strike out on his own again and go back to being a solo artist. That's just not how Sammy Hagar operates. He loves being in a band, and since Van Halen, he's formed plenty of other bands. Los Tres Gusanos, Planet Us, a Van Halen reunion, the Guaporitas, and probably most notable, Chickenfoot, which I think Joe Satriani is a big part of. Chickenfoot, of course, the supergroup that Sammy plays in with Joe, Red Hot Chili Peppers drummer Chad Smith, and Van Halen bassist Michael Anthony. And he is still writing and recording with them today. His most recent record, a solo project, is called Sammy Hagar and Friends, and of course his friends are just a roll call of extremely talented and well-known musicians. All this makes sense because Sammy likes meeting and hanging with musicians, and once you meet Sammy, it's hard not to be friends with him. He's always smiling, has the energy of a kid, and is so excited about life and music that you can't not have a good time when he's in the room. All of that is a lot for any musician, for any person really, but for Sammy, that's only half of his story. Sammy was driven to make music all his life, but he's got a secondary drive too, to be a businessman. A lot of people don't realize it, but Sammy might be one of the wealthiest musicians in the entire world, and it's all thanks to his shrewd business sense, which is driven by the same enthusiasm for making friends and getting involved in projects with other talented people. Sammy's first major business venture was in the Bay Area when he saw the mountain bike scene just starting to develop. He decided to get involved and ultimately opened 2 mountain bike shops and had his own signature mountain bike made by Gary Fisher, the inventor of the mountain bike. That was just the beginning. Cabo Wabo is a bar in Cabo San Lucas, a resort town in Mexico. He started it with the other members of Van Halen. When it wasn't doing well, he bought the other guys out of their shares and pressed on with the business. Little by little, the bar became successful, and it became a place for him to escape, relax, and play music with and for his friends. His time in Mexico led to a love for great tequila, which led to the Cabo Wabo Tequila Company, which led him making a fortune when he sold that company. Of course, Sammy Hagar has boundless energy, and he couldn't just sit back after he sold it. He's still involved with that company, and now he has another high-end liquor, Sammy's Beach Bar Rum, which is going great and helping him continue his success as a millionaire entrepreneur beach bum. Okay, that was a lot to cover, and that really doesn't even cover it. But there's just not enough time for really what the big Sammy Hagar picture is. So let's just get into it. It's this week's Patcast, Sammy Hagar.
What do you do when nobody's looking? Nobody's looking. What do you do? What do you do when nobody's looking? Nobody's looking, looking at you. You got to get it while the getting is good. Laugh when you can, cry when you should. You got to give it till the giving is gone. Do what you can, then you move on. What do you do when nobody's looking? Nobody's looking. What do you do? What do you do when nobody's looking? Nobody's looking, looking at you.
Your guitar?
I don't know how much time we have, so I got to just get
We
right
got as
into
much
this.
time, Pat, as we got.
I don't...
Right? That's what we got.
That's classic.
As much time as we got.
That's like classic.
That's fine.
That's classic you.
Two down a half step.
Your half
Perfect.
step. Should I
Uh-oh.
come down to E flat? I'll come down to you. It's fine.
No, just play it in F and I'll play it in E.
Come on, dude. Don't do me
Come
do
on,
that.
These are all classic isms from one of, I think, the kind of the sweetest but yet most powerful guys in the music business, Sammy Hagar. I get to sit with you, which is a real honor for me. Jerry and I have a lot of stories that we share with each other about how influenced we were by your music in our younger days living in Ohio and Pennsylvania. Like a guy like you made a big impression on us, and now here we are getting to hang out with you and doing a benefit show with you in San Francisco. So this is super cool for us.
Well, thank you. You know, the benefits of one of the benefits of getting old is you get to meet all the new young people that come up that came to your concerts when you were going around in the 70s and 80s. And
But that's not a bad thing,
No,
right?
that's what I mean. It's a benefit. It really, for real. I meet so many guys in young bands. You know that my daughter's listening to my 18 or my son in his 20s that he was growing up, and you meet these guys, and I get to go backstage, and they're all like giving me all this love, and he's going, "Wow, Pop, man, these guys really look up to you," and I'm going, "Yeah, I'm big stuff, you know." It's awesome.
Yeah, it's true. Like
no problems.
When Jerry, like Pergo, you were Pergo's first concert when you were singing with Van Halen.
Wow.
You were my first concert.
You were Jerry's first concert when you were just
5150, 1986, Cleveland, Ohio.
See, look at that.
But see, I
getting
saw
old has
you.
benefits.
I saw
I'm
you.
telling you.
I saw you when you were in the cooler band called Sammy Hagar.
Yeah, man, I tell you, God, I sit there and you ask me, hey, you ever play my hometown where Erie, Pennsylvania? Yeah, about 12 times, that I can remember.
Crazy.
It's like I've probably played every country, every city in every country in the world. It's just like It's awesome, but
Yeah, it's awesome.
Yeah.
Like I wanted to like briefly tell the history that I know, just because I don't want you to spend too much time on what people can access without this podcast. But like here you are, born in Southern California or middle.
I was
California.
born in Northern California.
Oh, in Northern California.
In Salinas. I was born in Salinas,
Oh,
Monterey
okay.
County Hospital. But I moved immediately to Southern California. I didn't move. My parents took me there, and I grew up
Right.
in Southern California. Yeah.
And you had nothing. Like
Nothing.
I mean, you came from nothing, and your ambition made it so that, well, along with your ability to play music, made it so that you're a massive entity in a lot of different environments that are somehow related to music. But music really gave you the avenue to be a kind of a special. You have to think of yourself at this point as a successful guy, even though it's never over, right?
No, I really do. I think I definitely think I've had a full life worth of fame and fortune. I got to say, it's finally dawned on me. You know, I never really took inventory, but for some reason, Pat, when I wrote my book and I read it myself, you know,
And it became a bestseller.
yeah, that was awesome too. That was added to it. You know, I just went,
Yeah.
wow. Now what else do I need to do? Not too much.
Right.
I can repeat a couple things, but the truth of the matter is that when you write a book, if you did it the way I did it in my own voice, where I just started chronologically with growing up and went right through my whole life the way I could remember it, with an interviewer that actually dug deep on me. He said, "No, well, what was your mom doing then?
Yeah.
Oh, what kind of clothes were you into? What music were you listening to at that time?" And I go, "Oh, yeah, like the Stones, just the first album, you know." And he'd go, "Oh, well, that was 1964 or whatever, you know what I mean?" And so
Yeah.
then he really helped me tell my story. And the point is that I just told it, but I didn't read it. And then when it was all done, and I read it, you know, I had to proofread, and then we made some changes, of course, but I went, wow, man, I worked my ass off.
Yeah,
but it didn't feel like it.
That's
you know?
what I think I respect the most about you, is like your willingness to work. Like
Yeah,
that's
I
what.
wasn't willing. I just had to, I guess. But it didn't feel like work.
But after you have to, you could have. There were a lot of times in your life that you could have been like, I feel pretty fucking good. This is pretty good. I live in Mill Valley. I got a sweet house in wherever. I'm done. But not you. It's like constantly trying to get to that place. And I recognize it because I'm nowhere near your category of success, but I have the same thing that I feel like maybe when I get there, I'll be happy. When I get that, I'll be psyched. If I could just get one more thing over here. Is there that in your life?
Yeah, but first of all, you're doing pretty good. Don't be crying poor mouth around me now. Okay? So, but I'm going to sell him something before this cast
No,
over.
I went to both of our celebrity.nets, and there's a picture of me on yours, and you just point and you're laughing. You're laughing at my celebrity
No.
celebrity net worth. That's what it's called.
You know, I think the thing that really drives probably you and me and everyone else, if it could be happiness. You know, you think something's going to make you happy, but I'm over that. You know, I know that nothing probably is going to make me completely happy. There's no such thing. And you know, I hate to say that, disillusion everyone out there, but you know, unless you probably get some kind of religion or some kind of spiritual awakening that where you just finally let everything go and you feel complete, maybe. But true bliss and happiness is pretty tough to have 24/7. So, you know, things piss me off all the time.
they're just moments.
Yeah,
I
but
mean-
so I don't look at success for happiness anymore. I really look at success for its creativity. It's really it's just I just switched my songwriting, you know, into
because now you're writing like acoustic stuff. It's a different vibe, right?
yeah,
now.
but also into creative business ideas. You know, you go, wow, the world needs this, and I
Oh,
can
cool.
provide it. And if you can provide it, and it's something that the world really needs, then they'll buy it. Or if
So
you,
when you were like, hey, the world needs tequila.
they need good. No, now hold on. Now see, now that's funny. Ha ha ha. But no, the truth of the matter is, the world needed good tequila because
Yeah.
see, I had been drinking stuff that was
Sure.
making it puke. You know,
Yeah.
everybody. I went to all my friends when I first started Cabo Wabo tequila, and I said, you know, hey, you got to try this. Everybody hit me with, oh no, I don't drink tequila anymore, man. I learned in college,
those are my
or
younger
I had
days.
one experience one time in Mexico, or I did this, or I did that. I'm going, no, you don't understand. You were drinking the wrong stuff, like me.
Yeah.
So, and that's what everyone was drinking. And then when you taste really great tequila, which everyone has now, it's hard to sell the old stuff. You know, the new guys, all the 100% agaves and the really classy, first class gourmet tequilas are what's happening. So anyway, I saw a market where I said, you know, people need to taste this. When I first tasted it, I went into the town of Tequila, Guadalajara, outside of Guadalajara in Jalisco, and I went around on tequila tastings because I was trying to get someone just to make me some for my cantina. And I tasted these farmers who were selling all this agave and all this raw fruit to the big guys,
Right.
and making their own little 20-case batch for their family.
And their batch was amazing.
And I went, whoa. And I said, hey, I got to turn the world onto this, you see?
Yeah.
And now that's passion, number one. But it's
Right.
also, it's a little bit of a business side. And said, go, you know what? Nobody knows about this. And they didn't at the time. Then came Patron. I was out there before Patron with Cabo Wabo. Patron just got a bunch of business backers
Sure.
from the liquor industry, spirits industry, that knew how to run a company and how to do it. And they launched and they took off and they became the biggest tequila in the world. And I was number 2 for a long time when I sold it. But I was way behind him. Number 2 was so far behind him, it was stupid. But the point is that everyone got on the trip, and now, everyone's tasting good tequila. But, I was just kind of early on it. And it's creativity.
Do
Your
you
brain
find-
starts figuring things out, and you're, it's like writing a song. You go, oh man,
Oh, yeah,
I got
yeah,
this
that feels
idea.
good,
You know
right.
how it is, and you get excited. So I get excited when I get a good idea.
The people of Mexico, like all the Mexican people I know, are the hardest working, loveliest people in the world.
Agreed.
You find like when you go to Mexico, because you live there part time in your life, that there's like a kind of a coming home when you go there, or do you feel more at home here in Mill Valley, or where's the right place for you?
Oh, well, see that.
Oh,
That's
see, it's a
tough
combination,
question.
huh?
Planet Earth is still calling, man. That's why fools like me own multiple homes. You go to a place, you fall in love with it, and you go, I'm going to live here. Like Mexico.
Right.
I fell in love with Cabo in 83, 81, 82. I bought a place in 83, and I just thought, this is it. Only place I ever want to be. And then, you go there and you go there and you go there, and then pretty soon you go, my wife's going, why do we always have to go to our own house? Why don't we go on vacation? I'm going, this is vacation. So next thing you know, you're going somewhere else, and then you say, oh, this is really cool. And you buy a house there like a fool. And then pretty soon you're going, oh, man,
Yeah,
why
because
didn't we
you have a
just stay
place
in a
in
hotel?
Maui, and now you make rum.
Yeah.
And I met your rum maker, Steve. What is Steve's last name?
Mark Nigber.
Oh, Mark.
Mark.
Why
yeah,
do
Mark.
I call him Steve?
Well, because Steve's the guy that runs the company for me. There you go.
Oh,
See?
okay.
See, this time I got smart and I hired a real liquor guy.
Got it.
I'm not going to let him outsmart me this time.
Okay.
No Patron's going to jump over me.
Well, Mark is a lovely guy.
Yeah.
And he's so good, right? And so you sell your tequila company, and how do you move into rum?
Well, it was the same business, Once I've discovered how it really worked, the nuts and bolts of the spirits industry, which is really tough. And it changed a lot since I did that, just like the music industry. Anyone that, like yourself, that just, you see what's happened in the music industry, it's hard. Everybody bought everybody up. There's no independence. Independents are so small they can't get their foot in the door.
Right.
Your distribution's down because you're going to independent. If you don't go with the big boys and sell out, you're not going to get juice. And even the big boys ain't giving it to you because they got 600-700 other brands, and you're trying to
Right.
say, hey, what about me? What about my little brand? So that's what's happened since I sold the tequila. And so the rum is more of a struggle, but it's really not a struggle. It's doing fine. And
that's in another paradise, which is in Maui.
Yeah.
And it's all from pure cane sugar that's
from-
right across the street from where you guys make
Highly
it.
Miley, yeah.
Like when I visited there, Mark was telling me that like Smirnoff and Absolute, they spill more vodka than he can make in a year.
Yeah.
And it's the same thing with all the rum. Like, my family took a bunch of rum and he makes vodka as well home.
Yeah.
And it was the best tasting liquor they've ever had in their lives.
he's a genius. And, small batches is the only way you can make it really taste that good consistently. See,
Yeah.
because you do it by hand and you pay attention, you taste it each step. When you got a mile-long factory and at the other end of it, they're making something that's going in a bottle juice, over here, and you can't stay on top of it. And so, that's why they come up with these formulas, and they just make it like, like Coca-Cola's got to taste like Coca-Cola every time. Well, Sammy's Beach Bar rum, I hope it doesn't taste exactly the same every batch. I mean,
Right.
it should be great. But the idea is to, like have a chef in there that's cooking a meal for you, not, taking a TV dinner and putting it, in the microwave. So
Do you feel like the small batch thing applies to music at all? Where once you start making music that appeals to the masses, that it loses a quality? Or
no, I think that's interesting perspective though, Pat. I'm dead serious. Wow. No, it doesn't. because a musician's a musician. That he's still writing in small batches. You're still writing one song at a time. You don't have a factory and a bunch of people around you writing for you and doing all that. If you do, I mean, there's some pop artists that are like that. They're like, they got the machine rolling for them.
Well, I think that human beings are like that. I think kids, young people, once you're known by too many people, then fuck that band.
Oh yeah, well that's a social aspect.
It's a very but it's all small batch stuff.
Yeah,
like people like the taste of they want to own it.
They want to discover. You're right. Somebody, I want to hear that band that nobody else has heard about, and go to you and say, "Hey man, check this out," and you go, "Whoa," which were the Black Keys for me about 5 or 6 years ago.
Right.
I was hip to those guys, and nobody was hip to them, and I was going around town, and everybody, "Oh, wait till you hear this, wait till you hear this," and then all of a sudden, everybody knows about the Black Keys.
Are you done with the Black Keys now?
No, but that's what I mean. See, I'm not done with them, but if they go homogenized, I liked them because they were so raw and funky, man,
right.
And down and dirty. And I just love the guy's voice. I mean, it's just the coolest white blues voice I've heard in a long time.
Yeah.
But no, so I think, people have a tendency to want to turn you on. When you go see a great movie, you call up all your friends. "Oh man, have you seen that movie? You got to go see it." When you go to a great restaurant, "Oh, have you been in that restaurant?" Well, that's the way it is with the rum, the tequila. When people got turned on to it, it's really exciting. And then when you become Patron, or like Sammy Hagar, and you sell Cabo Wabo, and everybody says, "Oh, well, it's not the same anymore," but it's still good, But yeah, you're right.
Yeah,
people like to look for the next little.
What would your defense be to that? Because you and I are probably the same way. Like when you find a band like that, and then they become a big thing, or you find tequila like that, and then you sell to a big company. You kind of have to understand how people would be like, "Man, when Sammy owned that shit, it tasted so good, and now some guy and whatever," and you have to be supportive of the brand, right? Because you sold it to a big company, but you still believe in it.
If it really was bad now, like they started making a mixto, I would blow the whistle on them, but they still make good tequila.
High quality.
Yeah, but it's not the same. No, it's not the same because we changed 3 times. A lot of people don't realize that every time we changed the bottle, and that was my way of saying.
And you probably almost went belly up. How many times?
No, never. That tequila made money from the first day.
Really?
Yeah, it was really crazy because it was so hot. We could never make enough.
Really?
So we kept just trying to run to catch up. That's really why I sold it. Was that it got really above. It was becoming a full-time job if I wanted to keep my arms around it, and so I had to let it go. And I didn't want to sell it, but someone came up and said, "Hey, we'll give you this much money for it." And I'm going, "Yeah, that's a lot of money." Then I'm going, "Wow." And then I said, no, then I thought about it, and I thought,
what can that money do for me?
Yeah, I said, it's just going to go into bank. Like, I'm not like,
right.
I'm not in debt,
That's right.
So I'm going, and I'm making so much money every year with it. It was making tons of money, so more than rock money, and so I'm going, wow. Then I said, "No, I don't want to sell it." And I said, "Well, why not?" I said, "Well, it just doesn't. That's not going to change my life. It's just going to stick a bunch of money in the bank." And they said, "Well,
Sure.
What would change your life?" And I thought about it for about 3 seconds. I went, "This much," and they said, "Okay." And I went, I should have said more. God damn it! I swear, it was like that. That's
I realized
why
that people from the music business, like Gwen Stefani, who has a clothing line, like they say, which maybe you could say too, the money that they made in music, as much as it was a fortune, was a speck compared to the next venture for them. Is it the same thing for you?
There's, I
mean, you were playing not just arenas, but stadiums as Sammy Hagar. Like, that's a lot of money, man.
No, the amount of fortune that was made in my musical career is how I was able to have the confidence to do everything else I've done. Like everything, you started by saying that in the beginning of this interview.
And is it still your biggest accomplishment, you think?
Yes,
music?
It still came from music. If I wouldn't have gotten famous in music, I would have never had tequila. I would have never had the Cabo Wabs. I would have never had my restaurants or what else? I don't
or
even
me
know
as a friend.
Well, you know what? I probably wouldn't have.
Sits.
Guys like you coming up trying to use me. You know what I mean? We've seen it again and again. It's like the funny thing is, so it is all based off music, and it's still my love. But if you add the numbers up, even the whole musical career, it didn't compare to how much that Cabo Wabo has, the whole picture has made in a shorter time. I mean, my whole. It's crazy.
What you've done, like, here's what happened. I'm just going to tell you a short story and how you're related to it. Where years ago, I went from a massive manager to a smaller manager, but a group that really knew how to handle what I was doing, and they're called Crush Management. And I bought one of the two guys a parrot hat. because there was a lifestyle that Jimmy Buffett created, and then we were like, but there's a cooler Jimmy Buffett, which is Sammy Hagar.
Jimmy's pretty cool.
which is like not for that. Jimmy Buffett wasn't for people like me. Like that's a yuppie. It's a thing that he built that was like for people that have jobs, and I considered myself like I'm like a rock guy, but I still want to go to the beach. And you created this other environment. So we talked a lot about you. And so when I met you for the second time in Seattle during Christmas, and I was like, you're the guy that we all look at as the luckiest guy in the music business, not because you're lucky,
I love
but
that.
because
I'm honored to be that guy.
You built the perfect life.
Yeah.
And when you're around you're accessible, you're approachable, you have a great sense of yourself and a sense of humor. You don't seem to take this shit to heart. It seems like you're getting everything that you're putting out in the universe. You feel like that this all plays a role, and that you can keep going in this direction. Like, do people take advantage of this part of you, or are you just like, man, fuck it, this is who I am.
No,
I just gotta roll.
I am not gonna ever change drastically. I mean, like I said, I hope to become more enlightened as I get older, and maybe stop being so driven and have time to sit back and rest and really reflect a little bit, and maybe and come up with some good wisdom that I can pass on, because that's my only problem is my personality, is that being so open and honest. It's like you can ask me anything, I'll always tell you the truth. Is that it does cause me to always be on the cutting edge. I'm always in the front line. People are in my face, and people walk up to me in the streets, and I'm taking a piss in a restaurant, and people come right up to me. It's like, people are so easily come up to me, and they have these big long stories.
Sure.
So a lot of times your downtime is when you're sitting there on the toilet,
That's right.
and you're thinking.
That's right.
And people tend to fuck with me even then.
Yeah.
So because I'm so accessible, and I can't be a jerk, so I go along with that.
But you can be, you just won't.
I won't.
And
I won't do that.
I don't do that either. And I always, whenever I want to be, I always look at I see my dad, and like I remember one story that I was unkind to a fan, not even to them directly, but through my dad. He was like, "Oh, this girl, and I was like, fuck that." And he was like, "Whoa, you fucking missed this whole thing, didn't you?" And I was like, "Oh, wait." But like, why are you like that? Like, was it your mother, or I know your mother was a big part of your business sense, but like, where'd it come from?
I think, my dad was from Texas, southern. His parents were Kentucky, and southern. My mom was Italian. Her parents were from Italy, the old country, and they have those old family values and stuff, and my dad, the southern people, hey, son, you treat people the way you want to be treated, you know what I mean? You start treating people different, and people start treating you different. That was always kind of instilled in me, and I just dig it, I'm a believer in humanity. You got to be good to people, and I can't stand violence, and I can't stand people ripping people off, and these crazy ass people out there that rip old people off for their pensions and stuff. I mean, I can't even understand that. It's like, this so far from my person. I'm going, how could anybody do that? How can people shoot each other and do that? So I don't get it. Like, it's just not in me. So I don't know where it came from. I guess born with it, but I wasn't enlightened at one point. I've always felt like that. Always.
Yeah, you seem so like Northern California. What if I told you that Rick Springfield covered one of your songs and turned it into a hit, and you weren't able to do that, and he likes to brag on my podcast about that? Would you want to punch him or hurt him?
I'm so grateful for Rick, and also and
how beautiful he is in person, right?
Well, he was a handsome young man. See, I don't think he's aging as well as me. Like, it's kind of like if you put it in wine terms, some California wines, they're big and beautiful and forward and fruity and luscious to drink when they're young, and as they get old, they kind of fade and lose the tan, and they kind of get the fruit comes out too much.
And you're a shelf wine.
I'm like a friggin' Cheval Blanc, like a good 61 Bordeaux or something, like 47 to be exact. But I'm I think I'm aging pretty good. Rick had me beat when he said that the reason the song was a hit was because he was better looking than me. That's what he told me when I asked him.
Yeah.
It was funny. It was a good joke, Rick. But
can we hear you sing a chorus chorus of it because the way he does it, I just was
no, he
like,
does it
I don't
good.
know. It sounds
No, I got no
fine, I
problem.
guess.
Let me see. What do we hear? Like,
You want the words? It goes.
well, this one-way love affair ain't fair. It ain't no kind of fair to me. It's all give and take, and you just take, and I can't take it, you see. Well, I'm giving up on love this time. Me and my friends gonna do just fine. Help me out. I've done everything for you. You done nothing for me. I've done everything for you, baby. You've done nothing for me. Well, hey, that was great.
Oh,
that was
man.
better than both our versions.
It was so much better than Rick
Who were those
Springfield.
people? You hear that, folks? That was some real
Rick
people.
Springfield is the podcast that's up this week, and we were talking about you, and he's actually a really lovely guy. And
Yeah, he's been through a lot. You know, you think it
He
was
really
a TV
has been
star,
through a
pop
lot.
star. You know what? I used to trip on Rick Springfield before he did my song. I didn't ask him to do my song. He did it for some reason. I think Keith Olsen or someone who had worked with me and heard the song. And I heard that first Keith Olsen tried to get Pat Benatar to do that. On
Really?
on
That would've made
Your
sense
love is
for
like
her.
a fire, baby. Don't remember. Boom, boom, boom. That's
Right.
right. Listen
Yeah,
to that.
yeah, yeah.
It's like go, 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 go,
Right.
go, go. And Keith said they made a demo of it. He said it was killing, but then they decided to write their own song, and then Rick came and did it. But Rick, I used to be tripped down on him because it was in the beginning of video, and because he came from TV, he had them chops, you know. So when
Yeah.
he made a video, man, he was like this guy, like an actor. And I used to think, wow, man, he's really good. Like I was intimidated by cameras, you know. Like
he's a shredding guitar player too.
Yeah,
he like started as a
guitar
musician, got
player.
it. He's a really ambitious guy as well. And so I wanted to mention on your albums, your vocals are just not as loud as mine. And so, like, when I make a record, I'm like, no, we need more of that guy. And I mean me when I say that. And you told me you're the opposite. When you make records, you're like, you lack that enthusiasm or that confidence to be so far up front.
Yeah.
And you've played with some amazing guitar players, but like this is a big question because it's not just that, but you like being part of a team. Like you could just as easily just never work with another guy and have a problem with any people ever again. You could just go do Sammy Hagar for eternity. But you seem to want to connect with people, but not just any people. Like you play with Joe Satriani, who's one of the greats. You've played with Van Halen, who are considered some of the greatest rock musicians ever. Montrose, I mean, the way you started. Like, why bother with these guys anymore? Seriously.
I tell you, I get horny to be around other people.
Did you just say horny? Because I just
Well,
didn't-
no, I that was taken care of this morning, but no, I mean
Thanks,
like
Virgo.
musically horny.
Oh, okay.
For more growth and experience.
Yeah,
I'm
right.
always horny, by the way, folks. That's a whole other story, man. Don't let age fool you on this one. My wife thinks something's wrong with me. I'm going, yes, it's you. You're beautiful. What do you think? I'm blind?
yeah. Something is wrong with me.
But the truth of the matter is that I really do. I become a solo artist, and I get so kind of tired of doing everything myself and doing everything the way I want, and I feel like I really stopped growing. And it's really a 10-year cycle, and you got to be old to be able to have done that a few times. And the way it is like I just get tired of it, and I start thinking, man, I want to play with guys that bring something, you know, like I'm tired of always having to bring it, you know. And not that my band can't bring it, but that's you develop when you put a band together, you develop a totem pole, and pretty soon, you know, they just look to me and they all say, well, what do you want to do? Oh, well, then
Right.
here's what I want to do, you know, easily done. But then I start saying, yeah, you know, you get around Joe Satriani and Chad Smith and Michael Anthony, and everybody's got other ideas and they bring stuff to it, and then I grow. And I grew from Montrose. I mean, I was a solo artist before Montrose. I just didn't make it. But I was Sammy Hagar. I was in a band called the Justice Brothers, but it was really my band. So then, when I joined that band in Montrose, man, I learned how to play. I know how to perform on big stages. I learned everything from that tour. For 3 years, went to solo artist, 10 years. Joined Van Halen. It's like, wow. I really learned from Van Halen. Eddie's a great musician. He's the way he writes, the way he tunes, the things he does on that guitar. I don't copy him. Like, if you notice, I don't play anything like Eddie Van Halen or Joe Satriani. Even if I could, I wouldn't. So, but I learned from it. So then I got tired of in Van Halen. I said, man, I want to start writing my own songs again. Hey, I want to do this what I want to do, you know. And then you get thrown out of the band, and you get to do it.
Yeah.
And then I really with the Wobbles, I reinvented myself. I really feel like I reinvented myself. The Wobbles, I shed all the thing. I went with the lifestyle, and it wasn't a contrived lifestyle. It was who I was. I love being on the beach. I love living in Cabo. I love living in Hawaii.
You really were living the lifestyle.
I just had to be that person 24/7. I couldn't get dressed up to go on stage anymore. I said, that's it. I am not. I looked at some of them old clothes from the Van Halen days of my wardrobe, and I just said, I cannot put those clothes on. I'll never wear a pair of leather pants as long as I live, you know. And so I decided to really shed all that and just be totally natural. And then I heard about Buffett. I had never didn't know. I mean, I knew the song Margaritaville. Everybody knows that song. But I never met Jimmy Buffett or ever seen him. My wife goes, you remind me, when I first met Carr, you remind me of Jimmy Buffett. I'm going, really? How?
Yeah, right.
So he comes to town, go to Shoreline, go see him.
And
There's
then
like,
hey, man,
20,000 guys with parrots on their head. I'm going, what the fuck is this?
Yeah.
And there he is. And so I'm saying, yeah, that's awesome. But long story short, then I decided once I did that, then I really wanted to be in a band again. And I created Chickenfoot. And I kind of created Chickenfoot, you know, but I wanted it to be a band. Like, really? I look at Chickenfoot, musically, that's Joe's band.
Right.
I'm doing Joe's trip. I write lyrics and melodies for Joe's music. And,
that's cool.
That's, you know, kind of what I did in Van Halen, too. I wrote lyrics and music for Eddie's, lyrics and melodies for Eddie's music. And don't ever tell him what to do. Bring me something. And man, when Joe brings me something, it speaks. It's like it has a title in the music to me. I hear it, and I'm going, I know the same. This song's called this, you know?
Exactly.
And Joe goes, oh, wow. Like the last album we did, the song called Bigfoot, No Jive. He sends it to me. I'm listening. Sends me a CD. I'm putting on my little portable CD. I'm on tour. Put my headphones in. I'm listening. I go, I'm writing down ideas. Every time I hear something, this should be about this. I go, Bigfoot. You know, Bigfoot on the gas.
Oh, that's cool.
I look at the thing. Joe had called it Bigfoot.
Wow, are you serious?
No shit. Yeah. I mean, it's crazy. So that
is crazy.
That's good music.
You have a lot of those stories, like
ghost stories.
Kind of.
Alien.
I mean, in your book, you talk about having dreams, and you wake up. You know, your dad was trying to get into your house, and you were like, "Man, you got to go." And then you found out when you woke up that he had passed away. Like you have a lot of connection.
That hour, you know.
You have a lot of connection with things like that.
Yeah, I do, and not as much anymore as I used to. And I used to, because I was so interested in it, I was always waiting for it to happen. I was always looking for it, and I was always reading about it.
Yeah.
Now I'm not doing that much anymore, and it's slowed down on me. It's like you gotta allow that stuff into your life, otherwise it don't just come fucking with you. You have to be open for it, and
right.
And you can stop it. It's like, you know, any spirits that come from other dimensions and from other. I like to say dimensions rather than other planets, because they ain't from our solar system, that's for sure. But any that alien encounter of any kind, ghosts and all that, you can tell them go away. They can't. They're not allowed. The law of life is that you have life force, and that's yours, and people can't interfere with it. So you have to allow it to come in, and it's dangerous because there are some bad ghosts, and there are some robots from other dimensions out there, space travel.
Jerry gets when we go to hotels that have any ghost stories, he always ends up in the room that it's like he calls it to him. So.
Yeah. Well, you can tell them to leave if they scare you.
Oh yeah.
I know. Do you like it?
I love it.
Yeah, well, I do too, but it's scary.
Hell yeah.
Yeah, I've never had it, and I know that you have. I know you have to go downstairs and
Well, can we tell the folks why?
What's that?
Should we tell the folks
why?
why?
Of course. Yeah, please
there you
do.
go, Pat. Well, you're part of it.
This is your benefit. This is, you know, when we met at Heart had a benefit in Seattle this Christmas, and you and I were both a part of that, so that they could raise money for people. And this is your baby, Sammy. So tell everybody the story.
Yeah, so we're just doing this little acoustic for a cure, and if I didn't believe that it was a cure, in sight from this lady named Jean Nakamura. You can look her up. She's doing fantastic research with children, brain cancer. But we won't go into all the bummer side of it. So I decided to help her out. And I asked Pat, and he was right on board. And I asked James Hetfield, he was right on board. As Nancy Wilson, she was right on board. Joe Satriani and Billy Joe Armstrong. And it's an odd couple. And we're actually did you see this some online thing? A guy was just dogging us to death. And what do old people do when they, when they get together and they had this conversation of us, what we'd be saying backstage to each other? And I'm thinking, why would you dog us for doing this, man? This is the coolest thing, And and so everybody's here. And we're rehearsing today, and that's why you and I are having time to do this, while James and Billy, Joe, and Satriani are rehearsing for something that they're going to
We're gonna find that internet troll later, and
I wouldn't publicize
just
it.
as a benefit to what we're benefiting. We're gonna beat him up.
No, if you want to beat somebody's ass, that's different. I'm all down with that.
So before you go, because I know you got to do this, is there anything you can tell people who listen to this? One of your favorite spots that you have found from tour, other than Cabo Wabo, something that by traveling the world you found this place that was magical that you have to go to, because you have a restaurant in Mill Valley called El Paseo and lots of other things that you do. But
yes, and by the way, we're going there. You guys are all welcome. If you guys want to go there tonight afterwards, I think Nancy,
I only drink expensive wine, so
well, that's all we got. Looks like no. Anyway, but we'll work that out.
But is there like a magical little spot that you have found?
There's so many that it's really hard. There was a little, I'll give you the A list, right? Okay. There's a little island in the Tahitian island chain. It holds about 80 people at a little hotel, and it's just the whole island. It's the hotels on the island. It's all natural, and it's first class accommodations, but it's not upscale. It's like really down home, bamboo huts and all that. Called Taha'a, Tahaha, and Ta'Haha, Taha'a, or something like that. It's pretty damn cool. It's a long ways away, but it's pretty damn cool. I wrote the song I'm doing with Nancy, All We Need Is an Island, and I wrote another song I'm doing on this benefit called Waiting for the Sun, which is called Father Son now, but it was originally called Waiting on the Sun. At this place, and it's that magic. You walk in there and boom, you're just sitting there going, wow. The other place I think is really, really killing, really worth the trek is Sardinia, anywhere on the coast.
Sardinia. Wow, I've never been there. It's
off the coast of Italy. It's kind of its own country. It's Italian, but it's really special. And there's a little Popeye people. They're just salt of the earth people, and they're just these workers and farmers, and the food and the ambiance is just second to nothing. And I still think Cabo's killing. It's overpopulated, and it's not like what it used to be. I would put Cabo in that place if it was like it used to be, but I wouldn't tell someone, oh, go there, you will have unbelievable. But you will have a great experience at a place like the Palmilla, which is one of the greatest hotels in the whole world. But like I said, it's built up. It's starting to you go around a corner after a weekend, and you get them sewage smells you get in Mexico, and it's become that. And I'm really sorry, but it's still great. But then there's all these little places. I think that like in the Caribbean, there's so many cool places that aren't developed. Big giant developed places, I'm just over. I can't tell you, like Joni Mitchell paved paradise and put up a parking lot.
True.
They just done it everywhere you go. I was just in the Caymans. It's all right. Pretty expensive. Speaking
of Joni Mitchell, do you have an all-time favorite artist that influenced you?
Oh man, I think maybe it's a cross between Eric Clapton, Mick Jagger.
Wow, crazy.
Oh man, there's more. I'm blowing it.
I have like 2 days of things to ask you, because
who's your number one guy?
We have to do a part two.
Number one,
at some
baby.
point.
Come on, talk to me.
My number one is Robert Plant.
Wow, that's a trip. See, I wouldn't think that. You know what I mean? Probably you wouldn't think Tom Waits is one of my favorite artists of all time either. One of the greatest writers ever.
Wow, really?
His Get Behind the Mule, Mule Expectations, that record. Them songs, listen to them songs, man. It's like, oh my God, The House Where Nobody Lives and shit, man. I mean, the guy is so soulful.
Right.
Kills me. I'm a big Keith Richards fan.
Yep.
Read his book. Probably one of the few books that I really couldn't put down, even though it was long. Bob Dylan. I don't know. I'm a music guy.
Yeah, man, you really are. Well, I hope that we get to do this again, because I feel like you have to
we
go
will do it,
things.
because now you and I have become friends, you see. This is what happens. This is what happens.
No, that's good. I'm good.
We
actually.
go through life. Don't need any. Been there, done that. Got
I'm
too
good.
many as it is.
They always burn me. No, but really, I feel like if you were going to do anything as a favor to anyone on the way out, and you wanted to sing a song, just as a way
Well,
to.
I wasn't planning on doing that, but I do got to do this song with Nancy.
Yeah, let's do it.
Is the balance okay? I wrote this song in Taha'a. All we need is an island, a big old sandy beach, a palm tree for some shade, sweet sugar cane. All we need is an island. It's Wimbledon skies, 85 degrees, with a cool summer breeze. All we need is an island. All we need is an island. Baby, all we need is an island. We need wind in our sails, a tall, cool one, a whole lot of sun, a belly full of rum. All we need is an island. We need sea, sun, salt, and sex, a line and a pole. Put me a pig in a hole. All I need is an island. Ooh, all we need is an island. Baby, all we need is an island.
Man,
Good tune.
when you hit
There it
those,
is.
I can't do that thing.
Well, I'm sitting
but it's
down, I couldn't
no,
do it.
it's your thing,
I saw
man.
Hunts, you gotta-
That's your thing, though. That's the Sammy Hagar thing. I don't know if you know what your thing is, but it's a where you're like you're singing really like clean, and then you just hit that one. All we need is like I can't do it, but it's amazing.
Well, I can't either because I have no choice. Let's put it like that. If I could sing like you, Pat, and like people that have more pure voices, I would sing like that. But I can't. I'm a road dog. I've been on the road my whole life, and I played clubs before that. So it's like
I did
I've
too,
got
man.
that blues voice that when I was 19 and I tried to sing this way, so I'd fake it.
Right.
Now I don't have to fake it. It's awesome.
The difference between us is because I did all those things. You're like the male version of me.
Good night, folks, and thank you very much. We'll leave it at that.
Hey, man, thanks so much. There you have it, Sammy Hagar, the Red Rocker. And if you want to know more about Sammy, please go to redrocker.com. If you want to know anything more about the podcast, you know where to go. It's patcast.com or Instagram and Twitter or our at Patcast podcast. And I think the most important thing for me to say right now is congratulations to Tara Muller. She was the winner of the Pergo Jerry Challenge. One of the most exciting times of my career was watching Jerry and Pergo go way beyond what they had to please Tara and everyone else involved in this challenge. What they did was weird, but really fascinating. I think you're going to love it. So we're going to put that up next Wine Wednesday, and you get to check out the incredible behavior of two of the most talented, nerdiest guys you've ever met. The Pergo Jerry Challenge is coming your way. All you have to do to see it is next Wine Wednesday, go to patcast.com. Congratulations for being able to put that in your eyeballs. See you next week. Love you, bye.